Hello! It's time for the return of one of the most requested formats, random DVDs. And frankly, one of the weirdest formats, but there you go. What happens is, I get a load of random DVDs and look at them and tell you about the film if I've seen them. And frequently I haven't seen the film, so I can't. I don't understand the popularity of this one, but hey, who am I to disagree? Sweet dreams are made of these. Yes. So, this time, the DVDs came from an eBay auction. Basically, the value of DVDs is now so low that you can buy 80 DVDs and have them delivered to your house in their original DVD cases for £12. In fact, I think you can probably get more for less now because, you know, more time has passed. But anyway, I don't know exactly what's in there. I have poured them out of the box onto the floor here and we shall be looking through them. I'm going to go through 40 today, then we've got 40 for another day we can do in the future. I can tell you what the first film is, though, because it's sitting on the top and I can see it. The Men Who Stare at Goats. Great title to take out of context, which is why they went for it. So, yeah, this is about a sort of CIA group or something. Is it CIA? FBI? One of the American governmental things. I'm going to assume CIA. Experimental US Army unit. My apologies. And, yeah, basically, they try and stun goats with their minds. They're basically trying to work on some sort of psychic warfare thing. Fantastic cast. You got old George Clooney, Jeff Bridges, Ewan McGregor, Kevin Spacey. That's a shame. But also there's a goat, so that almost makes up for it. Yeah, this I've seen and I really enjoyed it. It's based on the book by the journalist John Ronson, who went off and did much research on this tough subject. And yeah, it's, if you haven't seen this, really nice way to spend like an hour and a half or whatever. 89 minutes. Oh, almost exactly an hour and a half. I'll take that. Right, that's disc one. I haven't actually thought about where I'm going to put these. There isn't room at the side. Well, I'll keep throwing them over there till everything collapses. As we look at number 2, The Wrestler. Never give up without a fight. It's Mickey Rourke, looking like a wrestling man. Little hint of The Ultimate Warrior there. Yes, as it says on the front, the raging bull of wrestling movies. Yeah, it's basically like those boxing films you've seen, but with a wrestler in. Apparently mildly depressing and also really good. I have not seen. I have had a copy on DVD of my own for probably like 10 years or more. I really should get around to actually watching it. It's probably just on Netflix or something these days in HD. I don't know. But what I do know is apparently this was good. I think it was up for an Oscar or something, wasn't it? Directed by Darren Aronofsky, who is always a quality turn. So that's one I'll be getting round to at some point. Next up, Atonement. You must atone for your sins, James McAvoy, for appearing in a couple of really bad X-Men films. Keira Knightley and James McAvoy, based on the best-selling novel by Ian McEwan. If I remember, this is like a World War I drama, but not actually about the war, but about the sort of backdrop to it and that kind of stuff. And if I recall, this is as depressing as all hell. I have seen it many years ago. It was really well put together. Basically, somebody lies about something they really shouldn't have lied about, and it fucks somebody's life up a right treat. It's an incredibly depressing drama, but very, very well done. So if you're in the mood to feel like shit, that's not a bad way of doing it. Next up, Together. A film by Lucas Moody. This has been all around the place. It's not being sold second-hand like all these were. It came from Oxfam, originally a gifted item. Cinematic sunshine to warm the soul. Looks like a man in a t-shirt shouting, to be honest. Reminds me a bit of Garden State. I don't know why. What is this about? I don't know the first thing about this. 1975. Sweden. Tired of her abusive husband. Okay, it's not going to be a laugh a minute then. Elizabeth packs her bags and moves with her children to her brother's commune together. As a fairly ordinary housewife from the suburbs, the commune's freewheeling attitudes towards sex and politics will open Elizabeth's eyes and change her family's life forever. That does actually sound pretty interesting. How long is it? 102 minutes? Not crazy over long either. Yeah, might give that a watch at some point. Don't know which language it is. It could actually be in Swedish, couldn't it? Yes, main soundtrack is Swedish with English subtitles. Oh, well, that could be good. There's only one way to find out. Ask somebody, or watch it, actually. No, that's a much better idea. Next up, Mia Jovovich Mia's in Resident Evil Apocalypse, one of those Resident Evil films. My name is Alice, and I remember everything, except anything about the video games, because if I recall, these are nothing like them. I've never seen a single... Mind you, that design of the tyrant there. Yeah, I've never seen a single one of these films, I'm going to be honest with you. It did not appeal. Apparently the first one's quite good, and it's kind of diminishing returns after that, but I am going entirely by second-hand information. It's all Paul W.S. Anderson, if I remember, isn't it? Yeah, it's a film kind of based on a video game, but not really. That's a phrase we're probably going to come across more than once. Oh, for fuck's sake. Norbit! Ooh. Generally considered one of the worst films ever made. I have seen about half an hour of this in clips, and it made me want to punch through reality itself into an alternate dimension where I could go and live. It was not good. I mean, really not good. Well, let's read the synopsis. What are famous people doing in this? It's Eddie Murphy, as you love to see him. In a crap film? Pretty sure that's not it. In this gut-bustingly funny movie that displays his comedic genius in multiple roles. That's a first for Eddie Murphy. Murphy stars as mild-mannered Norbit, who gets a second chance at love with his childhood sweetheart Kate. But there's one huge obstacle: jealous, mean-tempered Rasputia, who wants Norbit all to her sizable self. So Eddie Murphy in a fat suit with big bosoms. Okay then. Can Norbit win the heart of Kate before Rasputia puts the hurting on him? What is Cuba Gooding Jr. doing in this? This was just horrible. It felt like... Do you know, actually, jealous, mean-tempered. That kind of... It sums the film up more for me. It's this weirdly mean-spirited, horrible film as far as I can tell, but apparently it's much worse than that. So I plan to never ever watch it, and I suggest you don't either, but hey, maybe you like films that end in the letters B-I-T. Can't think about the films you'll watch. Drill Bit Taylor? Oh no, it's got the word Taylor afterwards. Anyway, we've got Batman Beginning here. Good for you, Bat Bloke. I like this film. I think this is my favourite of the Nolan Batman films, actually. I wouldn't have said it's the best, like, objectively. I think Dark Knight is probably a better film, but I enjoyed this more. I like the sort of weird gothic way Gotham felt in that, which was kind of missing from the other ones. But let's not talk too long about bloody Batman films, or indeed, Atman Begins. Atman. He comes along and corrects your internet addresses when you type them into your browser window. Right, next up, it's Argo. This is one of those films that's just like a really solid film on all levels. Do you know what I mean? Oh, that was a good film, wasn't it? Yes. Yes, it was. It's about... how to describe it? Basically, there are some hostages stuck in another country, and Ben Affleck goes in undercover under the pretense of making a sci-fi film called Argo, and they're all working on it. But not really. He's trying to get them out of the country. Ooh, and spoilers. I'm not going to spoil the film, but yeah, based on true events. And... ooh, that was exciting. Who remembers Ultraviolet? That doesn't exist anymore. Brilliant. Yeah, this was really, really... This won the Oscar for Best Picture, which really surprised me. Just because it doesn't have quite the sort of worthy feel they often do in that sense, but it was still a really good... and it's based on a selection from The Master of Disguise by Antonio Mendes. I like that. Based on a selection from The Master of Disguise. Do you know what that sounds like? Sounds like it's based on a few tracks from an album or something, but I'm pretty sure it's actually based on CIA memoirs. Next up, a Clive Owen film I did not know existed. A blooming comedy, Green Fingers. Helen Mirren's in it, who by law has to be in 2/3 of all British films. Colin Briggs is serving a sentence for murder. I love a good comedy. Oh, did he brutally kill someone? What? But has all but given up on life. Bit like the person he murdered. But after being transferred to an open prison in the heart of the Cotswolds and meeting one of the lifers, David Kelly, existence takes on a whole new meaning. Based on a true story. What an odd thing. Does it turn out he was innocent, or it was an accidental death or something? I don't know. Well, there we are. Clive Owen as a murderer. If you're sick of seeing Clive Owen in his most famous role, which is, of course, in Privateer, the old CD-ROM game, then you could do worse than watch this, maybe. I don't know. I've never heard of it. There's probably a reason I have never heard of it, frankly, but hey, you never know. Maybe it just passed me by. Oh, God, we invoked Owen Wilson by talking about Drill Bit Taylor. It's You, Me and Dupree. So there's like a couple and this bloke called Dupree, presumably Owen Wilson there, who is sticking his head in the middle and being annoying. Two's company, Dupree's a crowd. I have never watched this, and I don't think I've ever spoken to anyone who's seen it. I remember it coming out, and I remember it looking just really annoying, and that was it. But it is a full-blown, hilarious catastrophe, apparently. Might be funny. I've got no bloody idea. I've never heard anyone say it's their favourite film, but there we go. The Town. Mr. Affleck returns already. Jeremy Renner, look. All your favourites. And is that John Hamm? It is John Hamm. It says so at the top. Yep, The Town. This is the one where they dress up as nuns and do a heist-type thing. I have no idea what it's like or if it's any good. Again, I know of this film, certainly. I've never got round to bloody watching it. I might have to make a note of this, because this feels like something I would possibly enjoy if it's good. Now I'm going to watch it and it's awful, isn't it? No, I don't know. Maybe I could look it up on Rotten Tomatoes. Nah, I'll just watch it, because it's got Pete Postlethwaite in it. And if Pete Postlethwaite's in it, then you get to say, look, it's Pete Postlethwaite, which is always a bonus, I feel, for any film. Next up, the Extreme Edition, whatever the hell that means. Bit of extra footage, I suppose, of Saw. You thought it was over, but the games have just begun. Oh no, it's not Saw, it's Saw 4. Oh, I see. So, yeah, I quite like I really like the first Saw, if I remember, a sort of slightly horror-y, thrillery, twisty thing. And then apparently after that they just turned to torture porn, and I have not seen any since, and I've got no bloody interest in it. Go away with you. Speaking of things I've got no bloody interest in, Michael Bay's Transformers film, which I have never seen. So I thought I had never seen any of these Transformers films, and then a friend reminded me that we went to the cinema together to see one. I'm like, did we? And he said, yes, you literally put a video on your YouTube channel afterwards about Revenge of the Fallen. I was like, oh yeah. Yeah, I remember getting stuck going and seeing this bloody dreadful film. I fucking hated it. Absolutely hated it. And not just as a fan of the original Transformers, it was just noise and stupidity and nastiness and ugh. And apparently this is, the first one. Not as bad, apparently, but I don't know. Don't want to bloody watch it. I saw the Bumblebee one. That was all right. It had some nice 80s tunes in it and stuff. Right, next up, a film I haven't heard of again, based on the Booker Prize-winning novel by Graham Swift. Now I feel bad for not having heard of it. This has got every goddamn British actor going. It's got Helen Mirren in, as we mentioned earlier, all British films. So Michael Caine, Tom Courtenay, David Hemmings, Bob Hoskins, man, Helen Mirren, of course, and Ray Winston. Interesting. How old is this? 2003 it says, but is that just the DVD release? I don't know. Lasters, why have I not heard of this? Jack Dodds was a regular guy, so why the strange last order to have his ashes thrown off the pier at Margate? And why did his wife Amy refuse to do it? She was very drunk. No, I don't know. As their Mercedes speeds towards the sea, an emotional mystery unfolds, the men trying to understand Jack's death by reliving their life through him. The war, the children, the good times, and the bad. The journey becomes a pub crawl full of drink-ups and punch-ups. Well, sold. I mean, it's almost certainly going to be worth watching, if just for the incredible bloody acting talent on display there. But, yeah, I can swear to that. And now, yet another film I haven't bloody seen. The extended cut of Sex and the City, the movie. I've heard not good things about this from people who liked Sex and the City, the series. However, they like this a lot more than Sex and the City, the movie 2, or Sex and the City 2, the movie, or whatever the hell it's called, which is apparently kind of like having dog shit rubbed in your eyes while somebody smashes your knees with a hammer. And this is apparently nowhere near that bad. Anyway, I don't know any of the characters, don't care about it. But how about you? Another film I've never heard of. Vanessa Redgrave, Imelda Staunton, Brenda Fricker, do love that name, Hayley Atwell and Joss Ackland, or as he's known in the trade, Gis Eckland. It's going to be romantic comedy set at Christmas, judging by the red case and all the ribbons. Since the death of her husband Kate has been... no, wait. That didn't make much sense. Since the death of her husband... Kate has been running a residential home for the elderly residents. That's very difficult to read the names in there. When her mother is taken ill, Kate reluctantly leaves her impetuous younger sister Ellie in charge over the Christmas period. She burns everyone to death for a joke. Oh, that's a classic. No, this looks very, very of a type of that kind of quiet British comedy set for an older audience. There's a lot of these around. I couldn't tell you the first bloody thing about it, except it's set at Christmas, because I just read it. Oh, now we're talking. Bum, 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 bum. I should destroy this immediately, because this film should only be watched on a dodgy quality VHS. It is Alistair MacLean's Death Train. It was a train full of death. That's the tagline I've written. I wonder if I can sell that to them. Yeah, Pierce Brosnan, Patrick Stewart, and Christopher Lee is in it. Christopher Lee plays that cloud of flame. I seem to remember this being... Man, I probably saw this when I was, like, very bloody young. I can't even tell you what year it came out. It's got to be 80s, surely. Maybe early 90s? No, it's got that early 90s look to it, actually. All I can remember about it is it's got more cheese in it than that guy who put in the custom order from Burger King and ordered nothing but slices of cheese. And it was pretty good fun. Yeah. So I kind of wish it was a VHS, but we can live with it on DVD. I'm actually putting that in a separate pile to keep that one. Next up, we've had this before on this, I'm sure. Probably had half of these films, actually. Nicole Kidman and Daniel Craig, The Invasion. Was this one of those Daniel Craig films they sat on a long time before releasing? I can't remember. Or was that the one where... I think it was this one and the one with the haunted house. But anyway, basically, they thought they'd sort of do a slightly different twist on Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And the big difference between this and previous versions is this one doesn't fucking work. This is proper bad, dull, stupid nothing, if I recall. I think I may have fallen asleep watching it, actually. And relatively recently it was on in something, but yeah, it was really, really not good. If you want to watch Body Snatchers, watch the one from the 50s, or the really good 70s one with Donald Sutherland in. This one, you can go straight to the charity shop, where it probably came from. Oh, really like this film. LA Confidential, boo to Spacey, but still very, very good film. And it's got a tiny Russell Crowe with a shotgun. It's got a slightly larger Guy Pearce and a little Danny DeVito living in Kevin Spacey's pocket. Even though he is the main character, Kim Basinger isn't in it that much. He is, well, actually, you could sort of argue they're both the main characters. DeVito's in it a fair bit, and Spacey's not in it that much at all. You can really see how they're trying to sell this film from where they've put the people here. Unwanted jump cuts, the bloody battery ran out. I really wish I could run this camcorder off the mains while I'm recording, but if you do that, you get terrible interference with the microphone, and we don't want that, do we, folks? Anyway, yes, this really good film. Really, really like this film. Got the Blu-ray of it somewhere. Probably on the Blu-ray shelf, thinking about it. Yes, it's really nice police procedural piece set back in the 50s. And great performances, really nicely shot. Just really excellent film from start to finish. Oh, that was a nice one to get after the invasion. And next up, it's The Big Lebowski. Really good film. I would perhaps say it's one of those things that people do kind of overrate a bit, but only because they tend to talk about it like it's the greatest thing ever made. It's not that good, but it is pretty bloody good. It's the Coen brothers firing on all cylinders and producing something that is super worth watching. It isn't actually about two men studying some woman's toes. That would be a crap plot. But do you know what? I think we all know what The Big Lebowski is about and how it all pans out. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, bloody watch it. It's great fun. Great, great fun. Next up, 28 Days Later, for rental viewing only. Shit, the police are going to get us. Oh, it's fine as long as we're not viewing it, actually. From the director of Trainspotting and The Beach. The Beach is a film which I've never sat all the way through, but I think I've seen it all in different parts. That's really annoying, isn't it? Anyway, 28 Days Later. Sort of very influential film at the time, I would have said. Basically, there's been like a zombie thing, and there's that really good shot at the start where the guy's on London Bridge and there is nobody else about. I'm not going to say much to spoil it if you haven't seen it, but if you do like... if you do like a bit of horror, and especially if you like a bit of the old zomboids, frankly, you'll have already seen this. Much better than the sequel, but still really solid, nice film. Also, I appreciate the red case with the red cover. Next up, it's Saw, the final chapter, Extreme Edition. Oh, that guy's head's exploding into chunks, and oh, there's all stuff going on. I don't give a monkey's toss. However, George Clooney sitting on a beach looking depressed, that I'm well here for. Isn't this the first film he directed? Oh, I'm not sure that's correct. Pretty sure he did direct it, though. Yeah, I've not seen this. I've spoke to people who saw it, and they were people who you would kind of expect to like this kind of film. They kind of didn't. They said it was a bit empty, but whether that is accurate or not, I cannot say, for I cannot back it up with a personal experience. But yeah, it's about like George Clooney basically trying to sort of well, let's read the thing. Experience a bittersweet drama about a detached father's attempt to reconnect with his two daughters and their often hilarious quest for the truth. Rolling Stone called it damn near perfect. I would really like to watch this at some point. Do you know what? I was going to put it on the second pile, but I'm afraid when you've got Death Train on the second pile, that second pile has become something very specific. Next up, Sherlock Holmes. Oh, the weird sort of modern feeling yet period piece one with obviously Jude Law and Robert Downey Jr. I really enjoyed this, and apparently the sequel is good as well, and I've still never seen the sequel, and I don't know why. I really must just actually sit down and watch it. Yeah, it's visually very interesting. It's all Guy Ritchie doing his stuff. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, it's well worth a look. Certainly much better than the later stuff with the BBC Sherlock, which was right arsewash. Oh, Samuel L. Jackson, he's got a ball and he's not afraid to put his foot on it. It's Coach Carter. So is this based on... I want to say this is based on a true story. I'm going to have to read it. Based on an incredible true story. Yep. I'm going to give myself that one. Coach Carter is the inspirational account of controversial basketball coach Ken Carter, who received both high praise and staunch criticism when he made national news for a gymnasium lockout of his entire undefeated team for poor academic performance. Ah, yes, right, it's all coming back to me. It's not quite like Whiplash and that kind of stuff, and massively predates it, thinking about it. Yeah, basically, he's got his great basketball team, but the kids only care about basketball and they're not getting an education. He's like, you gotta learn. And you know what? He was bloody right. Next up, hang on, I'm going to move these closer, actually, or we're going to end up with trouble. There we go. Tom Berenger in Sniper 3. Everyone is a target. Somebody should probably take his gun away then, because he's just indiscriminately murdering people. That's a terrible tagline. These exist. I don't know. This is one of those things where I think they all went direct to DVD very quickly, didn't they? And they just kept pumping them out. But like, what's a great example? Those low-budget Rise of the Foot Soldier films over here, which are like these sort of really not very good gangster movies, and they just keep spewing them out one after another. But I think there's at least 920 of these sniper films, and I've never seen any, and I don't know if any are good, but I've heard bad things, especially by the time you'd got to the third one. That font, they usually only use for low-budget sci-fi. Interesting to see that out of there. Well, there we go. Good old Tom Berenger. Look, this one's got a thing in it. What else could we buy? Films you've actually heard of? Not interested. Right, get over there. Next up, The Hangover. I've not seen it. My girlfriend has. She quite enjoyed it. She didn't enjoy the second one so much, and I think there's a third that she hasn't seen. In fact, is this the one where she said the second felt like a remake of the first? I can't remember. I don't know. This had that feel of a sort of comedy that I probably couldn't stand. And that's probably pointlessly judgmental and hideously wrong, and I'd probably really like it if I saw it. I probably should get around to it. Is this the one where in the second film he gets like a tattoo on his head exactly like Mike Tyson's, and Mike Tyson sued them and said, you can't use that image? And the court said, yeah, that's true. And they had to digitally replace the tattoo with a different tattoo or something. God, it's weird, isn't it? Anyway, there's a tiger. And there's got to be Las Vegas involved because they've used a load of bulbs around a sign. They planned a Vegas bachelor party. There we are. Called it. That is Hollywood shorthand for Vegas. Next up, it's Sean Bean punching people in Fighting Demons. Oh, I hope literally. Didn't he do that in... wasn't he in a medieval film we did that? Or have I got it confused with the Nicolas Cage one? I don't know. That's not relevant. What is you've got to fight or die. Probably choose the former in that case, I suppose. Why is this? Why have I not heard of this film? Vian, or Vian, don't know, pronounce that, Sean Bean, yes, we know he's in Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings, has just been released from prison after serving time for beating a man to death while he was drunk. Bloody hell. Did he then go on to be in a gardening comedy with Clive Owen? Moving in with his sister Bethany, he is desperate for forgiveness and a chance to put right his terrible mistake, so he punches some more people. What? Making a promise to himself to stay dry, he finds a job, even a girlfriend, Eva Longoria. Impressive? Impressive. Yep, I'm a drunkard who beats people to death, but I have just managed to hook up with Eva Longoria. And the future is looking up. But when an unexpected tragedy drives him back to the bottle, old demons wake. Hopefully, literally. So it's somebody fighting alcoholism. And there's a big hint of some sort of boxing match in the imagery at the front, although there doesn't seem to be a lot of that on the back, weirdly. Well, I've got no idea about that film. It's interesting when these films come up that you haven't heard of, especially when they feature somebody quite famous, like old Sean Bean there. Next up, Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. Next up, Paranormal Activity, a film I've been meaning to watch for over 40,000 years. So this is the one that was very popular, did very well at the box office, cost piss all to make, and as a result, they made 1 million sequels, which are apparently none of which are worth watching. But apparently the original has some proper interesting stuff in it. Really must get round to bloody watch. It's only 83 minutes long, look. No more excuses. Do you know what? This is going to go down with Death Train. Not in film history, just down there. That'll be fine. Step Up 3. Take the biggest step of all. Is this a dance film? Probably. That's so far from anything I think I could enjoy. I've never really come across it. The filmmakers of the hit Step Up and Step Up 2 The Streets movies reunite to bring you Step Up 3. Urban street dancing goes global in an electrifying new story with mind-blowing dance moves. The House of Pirates dance crew. Yeah, featuring many music videos as well. No, that's pretty much far from anything I could stomach, I think. But, well, if they manage to keep the quality up for the third one, hats off to them, frankly. Next up, this piece of shit. X-Men Origins Wolverine. I've had to sit through this now. It's the one where there's Deadpool, but it's not really Deadpool, and they sew his mouth up and all that stuff, and they take the piss out of it in the Deadpool movies later. Bloody dreadful. Absolutely bloody dreadful. Oh, I was going to say a real stain on the X-Men films of old, but frankly, they got quite a few stains on them now, but that is the worst, I would have said. Next up, The Passion of the Chris T. Life story of Chris Tarrant, the famous British TV presenter from Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and his passion for fishing. Now, this is that Mel Gibson one where there's, like, Jesus in it, and he gets all beaten up and then nailed to a bit of wood. I mean, to be honest, I think we're all aware of that story. I've not seen the film. It doesn't appeal. Sounds sort of dour and unpleasant. But there we are. Don't really know what else to say about that, frankly. We all know the story. Is that the devil? That rings a bell. Have I seen a picture of that? Has she got like a tiny little weird-looking baby? There's also I don't know. I'm confused by that now. Go away. Mel Gibson's a strange man. He confuses me. Meanwhile, in The Electric Mist, it's Tommy Lee Jones playing a sheriff of some type. Do you think Tommy Lee Jones no longer knows if he's an actor or a sheriff in real life because he plays so many bloody sheriffs? I've got no idea. Will secrets of a serial killer be finally unearthed? Well, yes. Almost certainly. Or the film probably wouldn't work. Have they photoshopped that shotgun into his hand because it looks completely unreal and his hand is going around it really strangely? Peter Sarsgaard's in it. That's always a good thing. Hell, Tommy Lee Jones is good as well. John Goodman, look, all your favourites. New Iberia, Louisiana. Detective Dave Robichaux, I don't know how to pronounce that, is on the hunt for a serial killer who preys on young women. Driving home from another gruesome crime scene. Ooh, it's one of those. Yeah, I mean, if it's well done, then it's well done, isn't it? Again, I knew it existed, but I've never really heard a lot about it, so I don't know if that's a good sign or not. But that is something I would look up reviews for before watching, probably, and then ignore the reviews and watch it anyway, because I always end up doing that. Next up, Gran Torino. Sadly, not a grandmother. It's a very pissed-off-looking Clint Eastwood with his waistband so high it might actually cut off circulation to his tits. Yeah, there's something about, like, he has an old car that he does up and he gets like the dodgy neighbourhood kids to help or something, but then something tragic happens and it's all extremely depressing. Not one to keep the kids quiet on a Sunday afternoon, put it that way. But it's got lots of 5-star reviews from The Financial Times? Yeah, that's always where I go to find out about films. The Financial Times. Isn't it weird they have a film section? And 3 different newspapers that I have absolutely no respect for or interest in whatsoever. So maybe it's good, I don't know. But here's Shia LaBeouf. Shia LaBeouf, eagle eye, non-stop action. Billy Bob Thornton's in it too. It's teal, it's orange, it's teal and orange. Yep, it's from that period of DVD releasing. Executive producer Steven Spielberg has almost nothing to do with the ultimate race against time thriller that will keep you on the edge of your seat. This sounds like sort of a slice of B-movie-ish cheese, which hopefully keeps going from beginning to end and is diverting and fun. I don't know if it is or not. I don't know much about it. It's got a gag reel, the ultimate Americanism, so that's all fine. 113 minutes. Oh, that's always a worry for something which pitches itself as sort of a fun action film, isn't it? You think, when you get near 2 hours, are you trying to be a proper film? Have you spoiled everything? No, keep it like Death Train. Don't know. I'm one of the few people who doesn't mind Shia LaBeouf. We are not counting that Indiana Jones film. So I could watch that maybe at some point. That really feels like it's going to be on Netflix or something, though. No, oh, my God. I remember this film. Urban Legend. I bought this on VHS cheap. I remember this many, many years ago. And then I watched it. And then I had seen Urban Legend. So this was all right, actually, if I recall. It wasn't amazing or anything. It was basically about like a serial killer who's killing people using the methods of famous urban legends and that. There you go. If I remember, Robert Englund is in it, who played, what's his face, Freddy Krueger in The Nightmare on Elm Street, as like a lecturer. And he does a thing where he drinks a load of Diet Coke and has some Mentos or Pop Rocks or something and pretends he's exploding. But he isn't really, because it was just an urban legend. And no, the killer doesn't use that method to kill somebody later. Next up, it's Popeye in the French Connection. That's the name of the character, not like the Popeye the Sailor Man. Gene Hackman, wearing his funny little pork pie hat in the French Connection. There was a sequel to this, and I'm pretty sure it's called The French Connection 2. I've got it on Blu-ray. I have not seen the sequel ever, but this is the first one, which I remember being really, really good. I haven't seen it since I was about 12 or something. This is why I bought the Blu-ray, actually, to watch it again. I look forward to seeing it again and hopefully never seeing this fucking terrible cover again. I mean, what happened? Was it the graphic artist's day off or something and they got like a work experience kid in? And then the monitor broke and everything looked orange, and then he accidentally printed it that colour. Very odd. Very odd. Right, 2 left. Number 1 is The Mortal Instruments, City of Bones. I remember this being advertised. That's all I know about it. I don't think I've even seen a trailer, actually. It's got that very sort of young adult sort of fiction look to it. Clary Frey, that's her name, thinks she is just an ordinary teenager living in Brooklyn, but actually she's in Sweden? No, but everything changes one night when in a downtown club she encounters the mysterious and charismatic Jace and witnesses a shocking murder. Drawn into a dark and dangerous new world where half-angel warriors battle to save humanity from demonic forces. Yeah, this is one of those young adult things, isn't it? Clary learns the extraordinary truth about her family and the part she must play to determine the fate of the world. Look, I've got a ghost sword or something. Oh, well, I've got no idea. I mean, if done well, these things are always good fun, but I have no bloody idea whatsoever on that one. The fact that I don't remember any other Mortal Instruments films, that sounds very much like it was going to be The Mortal Instruments, City of Bones. Next up, The Mortal Instruments, Hat of Paint, or something. Also, the best 4-star quote they've got is a must-see from Sugarscape. I have no idea what Sugarscape is. Maybe it's like a really renowned film journal I haven't heard of, but just seems odd to me. Seems odd. Right, finally we have another film I've never heard of, The Cat's Meow. I was going to say it sounds like 1920s slang, but it literally appears to be from the cover. You've got Kirsten Dunst, Carey Elwes, Edward Herrmann, Eddie Izzard there, look, bloody hell, Joanna Lumley and Jennifer Tilly. A vintage pleasure, according to the Times. From award-winning screenwriter Stephen Peros and acclaimed director Peter Bogdanovich comes The Cat's Meow, an extraordinary look at a fateful exertion of fun and frolic aboard William Randolph Hearst's private yacht in November 1924 that brought together some of the century's best-known personalities and resulted in a still unsolved hushed-up killing. That sounds really good fun, and a really, really top acting talent in it as well. That is a film I'm going to bloody watch. You know what? I'm going to put it on the pile with Death Train. And now I'm going to move Death Train to its own pile because it's Death Train. Well, there we go. That was 40 films in 40 minutes. I've got no idea how long this took because I had to start the recording again because the battery ran out. Yeah. Isn't it odd how little value DVDs have now, unless you've got like a super rare one or whatever? I mean, just buying boxes of them, and they seem to be able to send them to you for less than the cost of the postage, which I cannot work out. Must be like a super discount courier or something like that. Or these people send a lot of things and get a big discount. I don't know. But either way, this video's ending now. Bye.
Subscribe for more.